Body. I hope you guys are doing all right. This is the NBA Tournament Strategy Show where we do a quick look back at yesterday, talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and then we look at today's slate, walk through, go game by game, talk through the situations that are happening there, guys we like, guys we might not like as much, and then we go from there. And then later today, 4 p.m. today, not 5 p.m., we have the Tournament Tactics show at 5. So at 4 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the pre-lock show where we talk through leverage plays, guys that we're lowering exposure to, things of that sort. And then at 5 p.m. today, we have the Tournament Tactics show where we'll be talking about the NFL slate for this weekend on Sunday. So we have this show, pre-lock show is at 4, then Tournament Tactics show for NFL content is at 5. The pre-lock show is only for VIP members, so if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. Feel free to use the promo code BOB if you would like to. All right, guys. This was the $100,000 winning lineup from yesterday. It would be very easy for me to just kind of be like, oh, yeah, we talked about all these guys yesterday. Freaking fantastic day. But no. I did not have a fantastic day yesterday. I had way too much of Boochamp, or however the heck you say that guy's name. And I think the lesson learned for me is that I should trust myself a little bit more. When we were talking about the core plays yesterday on the pre-lock show, and we saw Boochamp up there, I was like, yeah, he's a very, very low usage guy. Not my favorite guy. I should have capped my exposure to him in that moment. But at the same time, I made a similar case for Javion Carter, and Javion Carter worked out. So I go back and forth on it. It's something to keep track of, but when you overtinker, sometimes you rule yourself out of wins. So it goes back and forth. But that was yesterday. Drew Holiday, we talked about absolutely everybody on this list. So I'm not really going to get too excited about these plays. We talked about Drew Holiday. He was really high on our radar. Royce O'Neal has around field weight exposure on. TJ Warren around field weight exposure. Christian Wood, we had a 5% min on. I had a feeling about him. I'm glad I put the min on. Wish I would have went heavier. Ben Simmons, we had a good chunk of. Gabe Vincent had a good chunk of. Joe Harris was probably the only guy on this list that I didn't have too much exposure of. I did say yesterday that like all of these Nets guys are going to be viable just moving forward as long as Kevin Durant's out. Somehow Ben Simmons had 35.75 DraftKings points and didn't score 1 point, one actual NBA like real life point. He got all of these points through assists, rebounds, steals, etc. And freaking insane. Guy needs to. I think he shot 3 times and missed all 3. Wild. Was interesting to watch because this guy can pass like super talented. But we have a big slate. Can't spend too much time on it. But yeah, Joe Harris was probably one of the sneakier guys. There weren't really any low owned guys. I was surprised SGA didn't make this line. Guess he didn't need him. Luka dominated enough for everyone. We had plenty of Luka. So solid slate. Just missed on the core plays. Just really didn't pan out too well. Michael Ortiz said, hi, Josiah. I didn't make anything from the main slate and late night slate. Yeah, I know. Freaking brutal, man. Last night was what was not it. Dave said, I told you. Did you win something last night, Vic? I hope you did. Want to celebrate. Nice. Good stuff. All right, Thomas, good to see you in here, man. And yeah, like that guy probably has negative usage. Is insane. Honestly, if he starts again, I'll play him again. Just not going to be a core play, but it happens. All right, we have a gigantic slate on deck today. Computer's lagging a little bit. Hope that doesn't stick around. Okay. Had a little bit of a lag there. Hopefully that doesn't stick around. But we have a pretty large slate on deck today. Starting off with this Knicks against the Washington Wizards game. The Knicks are healthy. It's not something that we see too often in the NBA. RJ Barrett returned last time out, and he played a crap ton of minutes. He played 40 minutes, so I don't think we have to worry about him being on a minutes limit at this point. Unfortunately, with RJ Barrett returning, I'm less interested in the other pieces. Julius Randle can't have an explosive game here. I think he's viable. He's going to have some ownership on him, so he's not a sneaky play by any means. But I think the price tag's making me a little bit less interested in him. The matchup against the Wizards is a nice one. We've been attacking bigs with the Wizards all season, so I'm kind of going back and forth on it. I'm okay with it. I think I would consider going Mitchell Robinson instead, mostly due to he burned people out. He burned a lot of people last time out, so I hope that results in decrease in ownership on him. Brunson had a big game last time out with RJ Barrett returning. I'm not trying to chase that, to be honest with you guys. If I get some exposure naturally in the domination station, I'll take it, but really not overly concerned with it. All right. Dave, appreciate you. Yeah, definitely do hit the like button and subscribe. It helps a lot. Vic, nice, man. Congrats. Hey, Josiah, Mark Williams is dead to me. We did lower exposure on Mark Williams last night on the pre-lock show. That's one thing that went well. A lot of things went well. The hard part about DFS is you have to get things perfect. And if it's not perfect, then it's really not worth talking about the good things you got. But at least that did pan out. Or maybe that was 2 slates ago. But yeah, Mark Williams, for me, just isn't my favorite guy to play more often than not. Okay, yeah, I get it. No worries, man. All right. The more exciting part about this game is for the Washington Wizards, mostly because everyone and their mom is listed as questionable. So, per usual, a lot of things we have to watch out for. We have Kristaps Porzingis listed as questionable, obviously big news. Monty Morris is listed as questionable. He's a starter for the Wizards, so that's also really big news. Daniel Gafford is listed as questionable. He's been starting at center here lately, so something to watch out for. Vernon Carey is questionable. Johnny Davis is questionable. Those don't matter as much. If Porzingis and or Gafford come back today, then guys like Taj Gibson and Anthony Gill won't see as many minutes as they have been seeing, so you don't have to worry about them. If Morris misses time, that's a pretty big increase to guys like Delon Wright down here. Also, guys like Jordan Goodwin would see a little bit of a boost as well. 2 guys that we've seen have enough ceiling to break the slate, so definitely guys I want to have exposure to if Monty Morris misses time. Anyone else are we missing? Of course, like Kyle Kuzma's gonna pop for everyone today. He's in a really good spot, especially if Porzingis misses time. And then Denny Avdija has also performed well in these spots as well. So the most important thing about the Wizards tonight is just pay attention to the injury news. We know how to react to a lot of this at this point. If we get the Porzingis, Gafford, Morris news, we're going to want plenty of exposure to Avdija and Rory as well. So interesting game to start off the slate for sure. Next up, we have the Atlanta Hawks against the Indiana Pacers. And let's see, injury news is quite hefty for the Pacers. The Hawks are looking relatively healthy. Trae Young was not on the injury report, so it looks like he'll be coming back. So we don't have to worry about DeJounte Murray again, which is pleasant. Outside of that, we have the Pacers. They have a lot of injury news. We have Miles Turner currently listed as questionable. And Rick Gill said, I'm watching from my phone. Why does your charts look blurry? I think it might be my internet. Let me stop sharing and then share again and see if that goes better. Nope, it's still shaking a little bit. Yeah, I think it's unfortunately just going to be one of those days. Sad, but true. Vic said, Goodwin looks good if Morris is out. Agreed. Bob said, thank the Lord, no Murray. I know, it's hard. I mean, you could make an argument to play him now just because everyone's going to be sick of him. If he's low owned, you can make an argument for it. The Pacers are not a team we have to worry about defensively, but that's really just for those who have the stomach for it. For the Pacers today, though, Miles Turner's listed as questionable. Nesmith is listed as questionable. O'Shea Brissett is listed as questionable. Those questionable tags are already a big deal on guys like Miles Turner and Aaron Nesmith. Huge impacts. But the guy that's going to be the reason why we are going to naturally have a lot of exposure to this Pacers team is the fact that Tyrese Halliburton is going to be out for a while. And when Halliburton's out, the guy who typically takes over the running the offense is Nimbard. Where is Nimbard? There he is Nimbard. He's really the one who really takes control of the offense in this spot. So he's someone that I definitely want to make sure I have some exposure to. The guys who lead the team in usage rates when Halliburton is out is Mathurin, Turner, and Heald. While TJ McConnell is also another guy who sees a slight increase in minutes with Halliburton being out. So it's really Nimbard and McConnell who split like the ball handling duties when Halliburton's out. So again, like a team that we want a lot of exposure to, kind of like when Ja Morant's out, the usage just kind of goes to everyone else on this team. And so I definitely want to consider a lot of these Pacer guys tonight that I listed. I plan on being over the field to most of them, but we have to kind of wait and see what ownership looks like. And of course, if Nesmith and Turner are out, the slate gets wild. Like we're playing guys like Jalen Smith. We're playing um, there's some names down here that we haven't talked about in a while, and I don't love them. But Isaiah Jackson, maybe James Johnson. I don't know. It could get weird. I'm kind of hoping now, actually, that Miles Turner plays, so I can just play Miles Turner. The interesting thing here about this game is that both of these teams are god awful against bigs. They're really bad at rebounding, both of them. So someone has to rebound here. I like John Collins in this spot, especially if he's not going to have a lot of ownership. Okongwu also gets a nice boost for me as well. Are two guys that I like on the Atlanta Hawks side of things for sure. Outside of attacking the front court with the front court, Trae Young's definitely viable here. His price has increased, even though he hasn't played extremely well as of late. But he's definitely on our radar as well. I think everyone and their mom is probably going to be playing TJ McConnell today, so he's not going to be sneaky, but he is good chalk in my opinion. So yeah, long story short, I love this game. I'm going to have a lot of exposure to it in a lot of different ways. But still, probably, I don't know. I'm not going to say that. All right, next game we have the Pelicans against the Detroit Pistons. The Pelicans, Herb Jones is listed as questionable. Zion Williamson is out. Brandon Ingram is out. The Pelicans are facing this god-awful Pistons team. Spread's only -6. Is only 6 points, so that's not bad. I like this spot. We've been playing CJ a lot, and it's been panning out more often than it doesn't. I don't know. I've been going back and forth this morning on my feelings if I want to make like a conviction play and be like, yeah, CJ's my guy. Joe Val's my guy today. But I'm still kind of on the fence. I'll put them in the territory of potential leverage plays. I want to dig a little bit deeper into the matchup, to be honest with you guys. But they're on my radar. We're gonna wait and see what Beat Ups thinks about Bay today. He's the Bay Whisperer, so I'll wait and see if he's interested in it. The Pistons do have some guys on the injury report. Jalen Duren is listed as out. Isaiah Stewart's questionable. Corey Joseph's out. Marvin Bagley's out. Cade Cunningham has been out for a while. So definitely some viable reasons for why you could make an argument for playing some of these Piston guys, but they're not my favorite team to attack personally, so I usually let the domination station just kind of decide my fate on them. All right, next up, we have the Warriors against the Spurs. This game is interesting. It's going to be on TV, primetime, ESPN, which I normally don't talk about, but this game is going to be played in a football stadium. So I think they're trying to break the record for the most people to watch a basketball game or something like that. I saw it on Twitter. But I've also seen some things on Twitter as well. I haven't dug too deep into it personally, but I've seen typically in college when they played in these weird environments in like football stadiums, typically their shooting performances were lower. So NBA teams haven't played in football stadiums very often, so we don't have a lot of data to see how it represents for them, but that's something I'm kind of keeping on my radar. If I kind of just erase that outside information, Uh, the Spurs are a god-awful defense. Most teams have their ceiling, or most studs or players have their ceiling performances against bad teams like the Spurs. And so originally that had me more interested in a guy like Steph Curry, but of course the outside environment, like, it is kind of weighing on my mental a little bit. So I'm interested in seeing where ownership lies on that. If he's low owned, I'll take some shots. If he ends up being extremely popular, I'll probably go underweight on him. From an injury standpoint, we have Kuminga listed as out, Wiseman's out, JaMychal Green's listed as out. Nothing too crazy there. Devin Vassell is currently listed as out as well. So uh, he's been out for a while. Nothing too crazy there. Not a lot of injury news to report that really really impacts us wanting to force exposure to these guys. If this game is going to stay close, the spread's 8.5. If it's going to stay close, you would assume Keldon Johnson has a decent bit to do with it. I tend to not be on the right side of Keldon Johnson, at least not here lately. I do think he's viable on this slate, though. Similar story of Jakob Portal. He's on my radar. That's probably about it for me when it comes to these guys. Outside of Curry, I do have some interest in Draymond Green for the reasons I usually do. I also love the matchup against the Spurs, and if he's going to be low owned, I'm okay with taking a shot on him. And I think that's it. The other pieces aren't too interesting. The sim model does like Jordan Poole a little bit, but the sim model kind of gets excited with guys that had ceiling performances based on injuries. So I try not to overreact to that, but I still want to mention it to you guys just in case you guys value that information and so you want to utilize Poole a little bit more. Worth a mention. Moving on, we have the Thunder against the Chicago Bulls. SGA was fantastic last night. Fan-freaking-tastic. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of exposure to him, so I was just watching from the sideline. But it was still impressive, so I want to at least acknowledge that. The interesting thing about SGA is that he hasn't played in a lot of back-to-backs. So in my mind, he's definitely, as of late, like since December, he's kind of been out every so often on these back-to-backs. So be prepared. Things might get a little weird and finicky here. If SGA misses time, we already know what time it is. We're playing some Giddey. We're playing some Dort. We're playing these Thunder guys for sure on this slate. If we get the random news that SGA is out, that's complete speculation. That's not on an injury report or anything. Just wanted to mention that. Bobby said, yeah, I missed out on that SGA performance. Same. I was really surprised he wasn't in the 100K winning lineup, but it happens sometimes. I mean, I think Luka had a great night too, so that was a part of it. For the Bulls, DeMar DeRozan is once again doubtful. Zach LaVine is currently listed as probable. Tony Bradley is listed as out. Javonte Green is listed as out. Lonzo Ball is listed as out. LaVine has been in really good form over the last 4 games. His usage rate is fantastic when DeMar DeRozan is out. It's 36.7%. Vucevic as well is another guy I like in this spot, assuming DeMar DeRozan is out. I'll have exposure to both, but if this ownership is correct, Vucevic will be a leverage play for me, and Zach LaVine I'll probably just be closer towards matching the field on. Outside of that, let's see, are there any other pieces that I like from this game? Yeah, no, those are the main ones. Per usual, you can always consider guys like Patrick Williams and AO, but they're not really on my radar as much. Patrick Williams is more so of a lineup filler guy for me more often than not. So yeah, let's move on. Only a few more games left. Next up, we have the Suns. Kaboom said, "Walk on." Last night was a donation for me. Today's a new day. Yes, same. It's been a little brutal. I'm never gonna lie about that, but we had a good streak going for a little while. It's like the world's trying to humble me a little bit. It's like as soon as I start thinking like, man, I am so good at this, the world's like, ha, calm down. But we'll get back on track. We always do. These things happen. Just have to power through. It's also a good reminder to just not overspend on night so you can kind of handle the variance that happens. All right, back on track. Timberwolves against the Phoenix Suns. The Suns have Chris Paul out. DeAndre Ayton, apparently, allegedly, is on track to play. Landry Shamet is out. Cameron Payne, out. Devin Booker, out. Cam Johnson, out. The interesting thing and the good thing for me is that assuming DeAndre Ayton plays, we don't have to worry about this annoying front court situation that I absolutely hate. Of course, if Ayton is out, then Sark is a fantastic play once again. But if he plays, I'm not extremely interested. He should still start here. I'll probably still have some exposure to Sark with Ayton, but I am less interested in him. His usage rate decreases with Ayton being there. That should make sense, but I can explain it more if people need me to. Outside of that, I mean, with Chris Paul out, I think everyone knows like Dwayne Washington's been the guy for a while. I don't think he had the best performance last time out, but his usage rate is still so high. He shoots so much. He just needs the ball to go in. And as long as that works out for him, he should pay off his price tag. So he's definitely going to be on everyone's radar. That's not a sneaky play. Is there someone on the Suns? I'm going back and forth on Miles Bridges. He's on my radar, but I'm not certain where I'm going to put him yet. DeAndre Ayton returning, assuming he's playing like he said, has me slightly less interested in Bridges, but I'll probably take the shot if ownership stays pretty low. Agreed. It's definitely good to reset sometimes. That's honestly why I usually don't play NBA on the weekend. It's just because I'm so focused on it during the week. I'll probably play on Saturday, though, but Sunday I usually just focus on football. It's kind of like a complete reset, so Monday feels like a brand new time. On the other side of it, we have the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is currently listed as questionable. That's big. Kyle Anderson is currently listed as questionable. That's big. Taurean Prince is questionable. Wendell Moore is available. Jordan McLaughlin's been out. Cat's been out. Anthony Edwards, man, that hip injury is giving him a hard time. It's only getting worse and worse and worse. And so I would assume they don't play him here, but he hasn't missed the game all year. And so maybe that's why he just keeps trying to power through it. I don't know. But of course, if he's out, then the guys that we want to have exposure to are D'Angelo Russell and Rudy Gobert. They both see a nice boost. And then we cannot forget about Jalen Noel either. He would be in a really nice spot too. I don't think he would be a sneaky play, but as you can see, like there's a decent amount of injury news, and so there could be some solid pivots that I want to make sure I'm keeping track of today. So that's my thought process on them. A lot of injury news we need to watch out for this Timberwolves team, so I think we can move on. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic against the Utah Jazz. The Orlando Magic, you guys know how I feel about them. Jalen Suggs is currently listed as questionable. Jonathan Isaac is out. RJ Hampton is out. Kevin Harris is out. Then Chuma Okeke has been out for a while now. If Jalen Suggs misses time, then that makes, of course, everyone's favorite plays, Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony, more viable on this slate. We've been able to attack this Jazz team with bigs, and so Wendell Carter Jr. is definitely on my radar. I'm interested in seeing where his ownership is. If he's really popular, I'm less excited about it, but he's definitely viable for me on this slate. Bobby said, do you like the matchup, Ayton or Gobert in this game? The matchup's better for Gobert, in my opinion. But Ayton's still viable just because of his usage rate. So I like both. I'll have exposure to both, but I'll have more exposure to Gobert if Edwards is out. I feel like I really kind of walked around that question, but in all honesty, I like Gobert more than Ayton in general, but I like Gobert enough to increase exposure to him if Edwards is out. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the Magic for me. You can always take a shot on Paolo if you want to. I'm not going to do that, though. At least not as of right now. Unless something really pops for me. I do like playing bigs against the Jazz. He kind of fits in that mold. But I think I'll rather go Wendell Carter Jr. instead. But per usual, a lot of it will depend upon ownership. For the Jazz, Colin Sexton said he'll play. So that's interesting. If he plays, then I'm less interested in guys like Mike Conley and Malik Beasley. THT is questionable. Taylor Horter Tucker. Udoka Azubuike is out. Leonardo Bolmero is not on their injury report. Micah Potter is out. Kelly Olynyk is out. I'm going to take a shot once again on Walker Kessler. I will probably for as long as Kelly O is out and he's not like 6,500 or something. I'll play 5K. I'll pay 5K for him. He has ceiling. He just needs to get into a little bit of a better form and be more efficient. He's been a little bit off in the last few games. So maybe not a leverage play. Probably a spot I need to dig deeper into, actually. So he's on my radar, but TBD. Outside of him, the Jazz aren't really standing out too much for me. But a lot of it will depend upon Colin Sexton's return. And then Markkanen, I usually get to him more so on smaller slates when he's just super low owned. I doubt I'm going to feel the need to force him today, but we'll see. For the Nuggets against the Clippers, we have Nikola Jokic listed as questionable. That's a pretty big deal. If he's out, then we can really just play all of the rest of the starters plus Bruce Brown. Jamal Murray is listed as probable. Bruce Brown is listed as probable. Peyton Watson's out. Jeff Green's out. DeAndre Jordan and Zeke Naji should see the center minutes for Jokic if he does miss time. Aaron Gordon also plays the 5 at times if Jokic is out. But kind of like I said, Murray, Brown, Gordon, MPJ are the guys that I would want the most exposure to if Jokic is out. If I had to guess, MPJ is the guy that most people would forget about the most. So MPJ would more than likely be the true leverage play for me. So yeah, interesting. Like so many potential fun spots. Like I'm excited. I can't forget about the Clippers. Okay. The Clippers have Paul George listed as out. Luke Kennard is out. That's a pretty big deal. We saw last time out that Reggie Jackson just didn't play. So we don't really worry about him too much these days. John Wall didn't see a lot of minutes, so that's another thing. Really, the guys who have been benefiting the most in these spots are Kawhi Leonard and Norman Powell. DraftKings is not being kind to us. They had Kawhi Leonard in like the 8K range last week or last time this team played, and he was an easy leverage play for us, and so that went well. They shot his price right up to 99,000, 9,900. And that's where he should be. He should probably actually be in the 10Ks. The only concern we have with Kawhi is just if games don't stay close, he's one of the first guys out. So he's definitely on my radar. Depending on where ownership falls, he's someone that we shouldn't overlook. And then Norman Powell also sees a nice boost. He's probably one of the easier options for us on this slate. And of course, we'll have some exposure to Marcus Morris as well in this spot. I doubt I'll get to John Wall. Zubac is always on my radar as like a sneaky center play with upside, but he hasn't shown that upside too much here recently. He's obviously a better play if Jokic is out. So it's kind of how I'm thinking about it as of right now. And then we have the last game on the slate. The Kings against the Houston Rockets. The Rockets have Kevin Porter Jr. currently listed as out, which means he'll be out. Ty Washington is out. The big thing here is kind of a weird correlation, but it's really Şengün, Alperen Şengün, center for the Rockets, who's been benefiting the most when Kevin Porter Jr. missed time. So Şengün's definitely on my radar. If I had to guess, of course, like Jalen Green and Eric Gordon see a nice increase in usage with Porter missing time as well. They also will be the main ones handling ball handling responsibilities. As long as Eric Gordon isn't too popular, he'll more than likely be a leverage play for me on this slate for a few reasons. Eric Gordon is just always a little overlooked when he has ceiling. What scares a lot of us is just that he can be a low points per minute guy. but giving a situation where he should see an increase in usage and an increase in minutes and give him a little bit more stability, I'm more willing to take a shot on a guy like that. The Kings are pretty healthy. Kevin Hoyter's currently listed as questionable once again. So no major surprises there. But the Kings have a fantastic, solid matchup against the Rockets. The Rockets are always slightly better defensively than they are in my head. But still a good matchup against a bad Rockets team. I will want exposure to Sabonis and Fox here. I'm not sure if there'll be leverage plays yet. I might just match the field on them to have exposure, but I need to see if I can be like, let's see what the sim model thinks. It's still early. And sorry, guys, I know things are freaking out a little bit on the screen. Yeah, sim model likes Eric Gordon. Makes me feel pretty good about that one. Likes Jabari Smith a good bit. That makes sense. And Shugan. Yeah. So these guys are definitely viable for me on this slate. Oh, that was the Rockets. We were talking about the Kings. What is wrong with me? Sacramento. All right, yeah, okay. So the sim model doesn't like Sabonis and Fox, and that's kind of why I'm hesitating to make them a leverage play. It's hard to find a great reason to. If I had to guess if there was going to be one, it'd probably be Fox, but just not feeling too strongly about it at this point. Let's see. Am I missing anyone else? I don't think so. Yeah. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I appreciate you guys, per usual, for sticking around, talking with me a little bit, keeping the good positive vibes going. I know it's some tough times right now, but we'll get it back on track, I promise. And I look forward to seeing you guys later today at 4 p.m. on the pre-lock show. And outside of that, good luck, guys. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.